Welcome to the Cosmic Journey. I am Theron. I'm your cosmic weirdo. I am an astrologer, so I use the planets and the stars to bring self awareness to individuals who like to change and become unstuck in life. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. I hope that you stay and be a part of our community. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. Thank you for hanging with me, and yeah, I'm happy to see you here. So I do ask that you all interact with this video by liking, comment, sharing, and subscribing for sure. This will help other people be able to hear this information and see, get this out to people who may need it and want to know this information. Okay. So right now, we're about to start a series called The Planets Through the Houses. We're going to discuss the characteristics of these planets as they move through the houses of the natural natal chart. So let's get to it.
So we're going to start with the first house. I will say that I have notes here, so if you see me looking up and down, please understand. I'm just trying to stay on track. First house is the house of self. It is our persona. It is the first impression that we give off when people interact with us. It's an authentic part of ourselves. It is, but it's the outer layer. It's like a filter that we have going around us that people have to meet before they get to the core of who we are. It can dictate how we dress, how outgoing we may be or may not be. But it's definitely something that people, if they don't know you that well, like your sun sign could be, I don't know, say your sun sign is Capricorn, but your actual first house, in which is correlated with your rising sign or your ascendant, those are other interchangeable names there. Say your rising sign is Aries. People may see the Aries quality in you before they see the Capricorn quality in you, because that is the first thing you project out into the world before before they get to know you. And as they get to know you, they may be able to pick up more of the Capricorn traits. Okay. That's just the best way I was going to try to like explain where we come from when we say the self in the first house. So, and just because I just glazed over that, the first house is usually correlated, more than likely correlated with your rising or ascendant sign. Okay. And those two names are interchangeable. So the first planet, which is not a planet, but it's categorized as a planet in astrology, is the sun. Now, if the sun is sitting in your first house, first of all, how you present yourself in the core of who you are is intensified. They're playing off of each other, and what that probably translates out into the world, that you're there's an exuberance about you, some vitality about your life. You come off as probably loving life, and almost have a childlike perspective on how you go about life, and adventurous, courageous. You could probably be very creatively expressive in how you dress, how you wear your hair. You're just putting it, just shining, like that's like the sun. You're vibrant and just, yeah, just shining out there with the sun. Probably very optimistic. You could probably take risks with with your life. And I mean that by being adventurous and just being a go-getter, going after the vitality of life and just enjoying living. um, and the only, like, that is like the main characteristics. If there is a shift where this doesn't seem to correlate with someone, then you will probably have to check what sign is there being represented, and what aspects are, what other planets are playing along and not playing nicely with the sun being in that first house. But with no other hindrances, like this person is the, like, they show up in the room with their just beaming, and they want everybody to know, because they could be a little bit self-centered, because they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they enjoy life, they're on, they're, I won't say always on, but they're on, if that makes sense. We talk about the moon in the first house. This person is not going to necessarily project their persona as easily or as quickly. It doesn't mean they're introverted or extroverted. What it is, they're coming from an internal place, and they need to know that they are in a safe atmosphere, environment, in order for them to allow their their persona to just project out there. You can look at it like their filter maybe have multiple layers um, before you can get to them, because they need, again, need to be safe, need to feel like they're in a safe environment before they let you know who they are. So they may come off as the kind that are kind of cold, standoffish in the first, coming out of the first house, until they get to know you and know that you are safe to be around. With that being said, the first house moon will be more into self-care, self-nurturing, making sure that they are a safety net for themselves. So yeah, you may find that they do a lot of whatever their self-care regimen is, whether it's soft baths and salt baths, or meditation, or any one of those things. Someone with the moon in the first house may gravitate to those things, because they want to they're nurturing themselves, and they're keeping themselves nurtured. And but yes, also the environment that they want to project in needs to also be safe as well. Otherwise, they may hold back on who they really are, and not necessarily be so forthright as being that same vitality as, say, the sun is. um, the other thing with appearance with the moon, these people may, and some may not, um, change their attire or change the way they look, depending on how they are affected by the moon and the changes of the moon, whether it's waning or waxing, full moon, or new moon, depending on what type of energy that's bringing to them. It can be displayed in how they dress and present themselves out in a world. So Venus in the first house probably is more of like a laid back, personable, relatable person. Um, Venus is about beauty, the arts, love, money. So this person, and like attraction and magnetism. So the persona of this person probably has some magnetism or some charisma about them. They have the ability to naturally attract the relationships or the finances that they need, if they understand how to tap into something like that. Um, they're so yeah, they're naturally like peaceful people. Like I said in the beginning, like they're laid back, because they like for everybody to be in good spirits, be like a peacemaker. They want everything to be like very balanced. So they bring balance and harmony into the environments that they in. Their persona just projects that, where um, they can actually, like I said, balance out like any imbalance that's around them. They come in and try to balance it out, and they do it. It's natural to them. Um, Now they are, people don't understand, sometimes Venus may have a temper. So depending on what needs to be balanced and how it's handled, um, a little bit of that fight, because they do fight for fairness. Venus fights, like I said, that harmony and justice. Venus will fight for. So that type of temperament can show through, um, if it has to. So yeah. So let's talk about Jupiter in the first house. Um, Jupiter in general is a planet of expansion, growth, broadening your horizons, foreign languages, yeah, foreign countries, foreign um, travel. It's higher education, your philosophy. That's Jupiter in general. So you have Jupiter in the first house. You're coming to to the world as someone who is here to live, to learn, to experience. Depending on what sign, if it supports this, you are very outgoing. You really want to harness this world completely while you're here. If it's in a not so friendly sign, it may be that sign, depending on what it is, it can actually try to restrict, and you actually feel like you're just butting your head up against the wall, trying to expand and being restricted in some way. But nonetheless, you can still expand. It's just that chances are you're just going to have to do it um, probably in a more calculated way, because what Jupiter likes to do is just do it. It's the mindset where as I do it, everything will fall in place, right? But if you're in a sign that doesn't necessarily a just do it sign, it may say, okay, Jupiter, we can expand, but you're going to have to take the steps to do so. You're going to have to look at the details of it as we expand and grow. So yeah, depending on what sign it can have both, come from both sides of that. But in general, they both want to expand and grow and broaden the horizon and just live life to the fullest. Whether you'll be able to just jump and be adventurous about it, or you have to be calculated about it, it's just going to depend on what sign is influencing or sitting there with that Jupiter in the first house. Um, Something else I was going to say about Jupiter. Um, oh, one thing about Jupiter, remember, first house also is our appearance. Jupiter can our appearance can expand or extract with Jupiter. So depending on the um, the sign again that's there, if it supports you going like full throttle in everything, it also can be full throttle in eating. Just so you know, and so weight might be an issue in the first house having Jupiter there. But also, if it supports full throttle in spending money, like when we get into the second house, then you have a hard time saving money because you don't have anything to offset the fact that you can't spend everything you make. And the same thing with food in the first house and some other houses. But if it there's nothing to offset you, there may be a struggle with with um, making sure that you're eating the right amount for your body. Um, just putting that out there. So, Neptune, let's talk Neptune in the first house. Neptune has a lot of characteristics, in my opinion. It's a lot of nuances about all of these planets, but Neptune in particular um, is just not necessarily always easy to grasp. If you have Neptune in the first house, now you can your persona, you can come off as a healer, highly intuitive, psychic abilities. Um, you can draw in people who would want your assistance in helping them um, throughout, through the body, just being of that assistance to care and to care for other people. Um, Also, though, the other part of the challenge of or the shadow side of Neptune comes from the fact that there's some delusion that goes on with Neptune. And that delusion can be a catalyst for self sabotaging. It can bring in chaos, confusion into one's life. Having it in the first house, you're, yeah, you can just, that can be part of your personality, is to be like chaos all the time. Not necessarily acting without necessarily grasping the reality of what's going on. Now that, like, either one of these things depends on the sign and depends on what is being aspected with Neptune. Um, this person, but so it's, so there's can be some, like, again, some nuances with it. Unless we're looking at your particular chart, we don't really know. But like, it can be a caregiver and it can be a self-sabotager in the first house. So you can come off being a healer, or you can come off being very chaotic and um, dreamy, fantasy like, and not really grounded at all. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave that there with Neptune, because again, it can be a lot. Because I say I leave that there, but then like escapism is a part of Neptune. So addictions are here in Neptune. So uh, again, we will have to look at the chart to see um, how Neptune plays out with with people, with, with a person. Gosh, but we would have to see how it plays out in someone's personal chart. But yeah, it's a lot that goes with Neptune. So yeah, I just want to say that. But yeah, that's Neptune. All right, so let's talk about Mars in the first house. So in the natural astrology chart, Mars is already housed here. So it is part of the first house. It just naturally. So if you have Mars in your first house, there's that. Now it depends on the sign that you're in. Some changes could be, some characteristic changes can be made with Mars, but not by much. Mars is a fiery planet, so it comes with determination. If it's in the first house, you're going to be, this person is going to be self motivated in something. Um, as people say that they don't allow a lot of dust to form under their feet. They got to keep moving. They have determination and this willpower to achieve, to succeed in life, to conquer. Um, so they have an aggressive, they like, let's go, let's do this, let's get this done, um, quality about themselves. So they can be intense, they can be hyper. Um, far as um, their appearance, definitely expressive. Um, how they feel inside, far as that expressive need, that let's go, you're going to see it in how they dress. You're going to see that they're making a statement just walking in the room, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have Mars in my first house, but it's nothing wrong with that. They are, they are, they can be a little obsessive with how they look and how they're portrayed, um, and how they're seen. Like I said, that first impression. So there's that, far as like, they can be really sticklers with like health routines, staying fit. Um, and it's more for the appearance than it is for the health, if that makes sense to you. Um, because they need to look a certain way. They have an image to portray, and doggone it, they're going to do whatever they can take. They have to do for that image. And again, it's different. Different signs will bring on different characteristics of Mars, but for the most part, Mars wants to win, and Mars is determined to do so. And Mars needs to be able to give that energy to show up and do what you need, that what needs to get done. So that's Mars. So with Mercury, let's go to Mercury in the first house. This person will be inquisitive. Their first impression with people, they may be in there asking questions to people they don't know, very talkative to people they don't know. Um, they're friendly, but what it is, they're trying to understand the room that they're in. They're learning. They're bringing in information. Now they're going to give out information as well. That's why they want to talk. That's why they want to ask questions, because they want to have that exchange of information that comes out. But they're able to do this with strangers. They're able to do this with people who normally that, with other people may like, wait a minute, we don't know each other that well. Mercury is going to be able to cut through those walls really quick because they need to understand who they're dealing with and they want to have that conversation to do so. Um, they may have come off with a nervous energy having it in the first house. There's a bit of anxiety that comes around them here and there because there's this always this, I want to say Mercury has this mindset like they never have enough time to get all of the information that they need. So the nervousness is just coming through like um, I need all this information and I need it now. And therefore, going back to them having that conversation, once they get what they need from that conversation, chances are they have now moved on to someone else because they're again, I've gotten what I needed from this. Thank you very much. But now I need to go over here. And so they can work a room. They can actually be the ones like to come from a party. They didn't know anybody, but yet have made 10 friends, that type of thing. Because they're going to work this room or at least know 10 people. They may not make them friends because they're going to work this room. They're going to get to know people. They're going to know who they are, what they are, because they want to have that exchange so they can gravitate. But they are nervous in an energetic, nervous way because it's like I only have a set amount of time to get this information, and I need to get it now. So once I've gotten what I need from this person, I'm going to have to cut this off because I need to go someone else. Um, so they so it but from the point of view of the other person, it looks like the Mercury person can get bored real easy, and looks like they don't have focus because there's a lot of interest they have, and that's not true. They do have a lot of interest. They but they do focus in because they want to learn, so they're going to try to get this information. But once they've learned that information, it's just that's when they're like, okay, enough of that. I need to go to something else. So, so yeah, somebody with Mercury in the first house will, like I said, they will be the person that comes into a room and begins to talk and begins to ask questions, begins to read body language. They have their own set of body language that they give out to people. They probably try to connect with somebody where they can look, y'all can look each other in the eye and like read each other's thoughts type thing. It's a lot of communicating going on um, if Mercury is in that first house. So that's Mercury. So Saturn in the first house. So the characteristic of Saturn is it's restrictive, authoritative. It's about time. Um, it's very conservative. Now Saturn wants to succeed, um, and they set their sights on succeeding. Saturn likes to climb the social ladder. Um, so they like to be seen as that, as the leader of something. So, but coming from the first house, Saturn in the first house, this person takes on life seriously, whether they want to or not. Um, they there is a restrictiveness about them where they're not going to allow all of them to, like, you will only get their filter that they want you to see and want you to experience, because there is a perception that um, they need to give off to the people who that are watching them, because like I said, even if they want to be more personable and have their um, let their hair down and just enjoy life, and not that they don't enjoy life, but they're coming from they just start off in that first house realm as this, I gotta be serious, I gotta see what this is about, I need to see where I fit in, how I look, um, from the outside, well, because they want to look smart. They want to look like they can be the authority figure of their lives. So they're not going to put themselves in situations where, or yeah, they're trying not to put themselves in situations where that people will see them differently than that well put together authoritative figure over their lives. And I hope I'm making sense with that. Um, they're so like yeah, because there's an underlining insecurity of how you're being perceived. And if you're not, and so therefore they're making sure they're pulling themselves back, they're restricting themselves from being this letting your hair like letting your hair down type of person, because they're gonna always think about how this looks from the outside, because there's some place that they want to go, they want to get to, that they don't want something like a false perception about them, or at least a perception about them that they're not capable to get ahead, get out there for them. So a Saturn in the first house, this person may take their time. They to kind of like really get to where they want to in life. It's going to take time because they have to go through every stage. Like I said, Saturn wants the success, but they're not going to let you skip steps to get there. Once you think that you've gotten something, Saturn may show you that you don't have it all, and you may have to like go back down, maybe not to square one, but definitely maybe if you're at five, at the fifth level, you may have to go down to the third or the fourth level. So Saturn can bring that frustration as well. But in the first house, you're navigating your life, your persona, in your first impression through this filter as well, where you're kind of restricted, you're holding back. Um, you want to be seen in a certain light because you want to have the authority over your life. You don't want anybody to have authority over your life. And so there's a seriousness about how you actually interact with other people. The fun part of you, it comes out, but you're going to have to bring people closer into you. And yeah, that's probably some layers there, but you bring people closer into you, they can see the fun part, and you'll feel safe with showing your other sides to them. But initially you need to be the authority figure of your life, and you need that to be seen and understood by people outside of you. So Uranus in the first house. Well, Uranus characteristically is it disrupts because it it disrupts portions of our lives where we have begun to conform. Uranus is very much about individuality. Um, it doesn't accept groupthink. It doesn't accept the rules and regulations that are placed upon us. Um, so if you have Uranus in your first house, you may be looked at as the horse of a different color. You're not a conformist. You don't group think. You just don't. Um, you have a freedom to express yourself and be who you are, regardless of what is said you should be. With that being said, with your appearance, yeah, you may dress different. You may, and yeah, dressing different, wearing your hair different, um, those things, and they could switch up like impulsively, because again, once it becomes kind of stagnant and almost you even conforming to yourself, Uranus will disrupt, and it gives like this lightning bolt clarity, like this needs to change, this needs to go a different direction. And so you will like, you can be somebody who was wearing all blue for for a couple of days, and it's like, nope, I'm getting too complacent with this. I'm conforming to something that I shouldn't be doing. So let me switch this up. And now you're in green. But, it's just that type of wake up one morning and this is not working. We got to make this change. Um, and this is how you go through life pretty much with this same um, non-conformity type of attitude when you even in first impressions with people. So yeah, so some people will say like Uranus is like the self-proclaimed weirdo, the horse of a different color. And I'm not calling anybody a weirdo. I'm just saying if you just see that person who is like stands out unique, they usually are unique in their persona, in their personality, and how they talk to and interact with people. They have a uniqueness, and they also will attract unique people um, to them. So yeah, they have be a whole motley crew of um, the people that are around them as well because of having that having that be a part of who they are. They also attract people who are similar to them. So so Pluto, Lord of the Underground, in the first house. So someone with Pluto in the first house, they have a deep emotional, possibly dark disposition. Um, they are probably a little bit more reserved because Pluto has a natural skepticism about it, doesn't necessarily trust. So someone with Pluto in the first house may also have a hard time and a challenge trusting themselves. So you have to think of that as well. The thing with Pluto, though, you won't know this by looking at them. They have a stoic look, or you can say a poker face, where you don't know what's happening. But internally, it is a volcano going on inside. Like I said, they are naturally skeptics, so it's hard for them to trust. So for that, they're going to withhold who they going that filter is going to be a strong filter until you're safe enough to come past it. Once you get past that persona, I mean past that filter for their persona, um, Pluto may begin to be a little bit possessive. Um, yeah, kind of possessive of a person because they have a tendency to be possessive and obsessive. Um, they can turn that onto themselves where they may be obsessive about how they look, um, obsessive about how they dress, depending on where they're, um, what sign it is in. That will play out different for different people. But Pluto is, like I said, the Lord of the Underground. It's the Lord. It's about transformation. This person possibly will go through major transformation of their persona, of their personality, who they are. That filter that they have um, will change. The person you met 5 minutes ago, if they go through that transformation, um, might not be the next person. I mean, that same person, and you just seen them 5 minutes ago, and then now they're just different already. That transformation is deep. Um, it's like I said, it burns them all the way down, and then they have to come. They have a rebirth, and that rebirth is like a new human being. How they dress, what their tastes, all of that changes. So, and yeah, so with Pluto, um, yeah, I think I covered everything that I wanted to say about Pluto being here. It's just that patience is, if you're dealing with someone with Pluto in the first house, you be patient. Like once you're in their grasp, though, you know, you're theirs. But in the first in the first house having Pluto, there may be a standoffish offness about them until they allow you through that filter to get to know you. because they're just naturally a skeptic, and they need to see where are you genuine, and are you coming from a genuine place. Um, and then, like I said, then they obsess over you. Maybe, maybe not. It depends on the signs and the aspects, but I'm just giving general characteristics. So, but yeah, that is Pluto. All right. So, last but not least, I want to talk about Chiron. It is not a planet, but it is important in our charts. And I wanted to include it in this series with planets. Um, Chiron is the wounded healer. So, wherever it falls in our charts, it also shows that there's some wounding there that we will always be trying to heal from. And if it's first in the first house, there is reason to believe there is wounding around who you are, that you project. Like, remember, first house is your filter, that outer shell of who you are. It's an authentic space. It is who you are, but it's who you are projecting to the outside world. If that has ever been berated, belittled, um, ridiculed, um, you have somehow found that who you are isn't good enough. People don't like it. So you either try to be something that you're not here, um, trying to have a different persona that really isn't your persona at all. Um, you may overcompensate by being a show off, being assertive, just totally countering who you really are, just because there was a wounding there that told you that who you were being, who you were trying, like who you were being out in the world was not acceptable with the people that were around you, when it was really the people that were around you that needed to change. You didn't have to. And you're having to come back to that and work through that. Is going to be an ongoing thing. With Chiron, if with the story, he was wounded, he was unable to fully heal himself, but in turn he did was able to heal others who had the same affliction. So if you are somebody and had Chiron in the first house, and you was pretty much like I said, you have wounding around showing people who you are, even on the outward shell of you, then you will always probably be dealing with that at some point. Something comes up and you have to like revisit, but you also will have the ability to help somebody else who also has the same wounding. So, again, um, I wanted to add Chiron because I think Chiron is very important to how we also process this world that we live in and the charts that we have. So that's Chiron. All right. Okay. So that concludes the first house. And if you still here, thank you for sticking around. Um, I appreciate you staying and getting my perspective on these planets going through the house. I do personal readings. I will have a link in the description down below, so you can click that link and schedule a personal reading. And right now they're reduced, so they're priced at a discount. Is what I want to say. They're priced at a discount. So go ahead and jump on that before it changes. And please, though, if you have any comments, I'd like to interact with you. So comments about the video, about the first house, any questions, go ahead and leave a comment there. Make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe so you'll know when I drop the other planets. Again, thank you for being here, and I will be talking to you soon. I'll be putting the rest of the planets out. Bye.